All right, this is going to be my NBA 2K26 Summer League sleepers. I'm going to go over one guy for each team who I think is kind of under the radar, so it's not going to be like a first round pick or like a veteran guy. It's more so going to be like a G League guy or some undrafted guys from this season who I think could have a legitimate, really good summer league that could project into having a legitimate spot in the NBA roster, whether that's a two-way deal, even an actual 15-man roster. But these are going to be guys that are, again, under the radar, not any guys that are obvious summer league standouts. So let's get started here with PJ Hall from the Charlotte Hornets. He was undrafted in 2024. Played 19 games for Denver in the regular season, but he didn't hardly play in any of those games. Just very minimal minutes. But he was really good in the G League last year. 19 points, 12.5 boards, 1 block on 49-35 splits. He was really good in the G League. I expect him to be pretty good here in Summer League. Next up is going to be Hunter Dickinson from the New Orleans Pelicans Summer League. He was undrafted out of Kansas this year. He's a 3-time All-American in college, averaged 17 and 10 with 1 steal and 1 block on 53-28 splits. Not a great three-point shooter, but he was still really good all around in college. So I do expect him to have a pretty decent Summer League showing here for the Pelicans. Next up is going to be Elijah Harkless from Utah. I know he's already kind of played a couple of games with the Salt Lake City Summer League, but oh well. I'm not going to try to include guys from those teams that have already been showing out because that feels like cheating. But Elijah Harkless had way too good of a G League career for me to not put him on this list. He was undrafted in 2023, played 10 games for the Jazz last year, but he averaged 27, 5, and 4 in the G League on 45-42 splits. He was amazing in the G League last year. Then we got Zeke Mayo out of Kansas, undrafted in the 2025 season. He was an All-Big 12 player, averaged about 15, 5, and 3 on 45-42 splits. But yeah, he was amazing player for KU, all Big 12 conference, pretty good, and a great three-point shooter at 42%. Next up is going to be Hunter Sallis, a point guard out of Wake Forest, who's undrafted this year. 2-time All-ACC, so pretty good in his conference. Average 18, 5, and 3 on 46-28 splits. Not a great three-point shooter, but a really good scorer all around. He could have a really solid summer league for Philadelphia. Then we got Drew Timme from the Nets. He played 9 games this year. He was undrafted in 2023. In his 9 games this year, he averaged 12 points and 7 boards. So he was a pretty good player here in his limited minutes that he did play towards the end of the season. 44-26 splits, not great, but he's still a pretty good scorer here, for the games that he did play. Next up is going to be Chucky Hepburn out of Louisville, undrafted in 2025. He was All-ACC and was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. That definitely matters a little bit. Averaged 16, about 4 boards and 6 assists on 2.5 steals a game. Really good all-around player there for Louisville. Defensive Player of the Year obviously helps him quite a bit. I think he could have a pretty solid summer league for Toronto. Then we got Jameer Nelson Jr. for San Antonio, who was undrafted in 2024. G League stats, about 11 points, 3 boards, 2 assists on 47-29 splits. Could have been a little bit better from the three-point line, but because it does have the Jameer Nelson bloodline, I feel like I got to put him on this list. Then we got Mitch Muscari out of Drake. He was undrafted free agent, but he shot 40% from 3 in college. That's pretty much what this whole thing is based off of. He was all Missouri Valley, but it's a pretty low conference. Averaged 9 points a game in college, but that 40% shooting from 3 is really what gets me, right? Only 39% from the field, but the majority of his shots were from 3, and he was lethal from there. So if he can be a good three-point shooter in the Summer League, there's no reason he couldn't be a two-way guy potentially next season. Then we got James Bouknight. He was a lottery pick back in 2021. Recently played for the Blazers G League team. Averaged about 13, 6, and 5 on 44-30 splits. Decent stats all around. Also because of his kind of veteran status, even though it was only 4 years ago when he was drafted, he's still a veteran in terms of Summer League players, right? So because of his veteran status for Summer League, he should probably be a guy that's definitely on standout watch. Then we got Kira Lewis, similar thing for him. He was a lottery pick in 2020. Recently played for the Wizards G League, averaged 13, 4, and 5 on 42-33 splits. Again, similar thing. He was solid in the G League, but because of his veteran status over a lot of these Summer League players, I expect him to have a pretty solid Summer League season. Then we got Melvin Ajinka for the Dallas Mavericks. He was drafted last year, the 51st overall pick, but only played in the EuroLeague. His G League stats, actually there's probably his EuroLeague stats there, were 5 points, 1 board on 45-43 splits. So great shooting in the EuroLeague at 43%. If he can translate that at least a little bit, I think he could be a decent Summer League guy and definitely have a shot to be on the Dallas Mavericks roster next year, considering he was drafted by them last season. Then we got Tavion Kinsey, undrafted free agent in 2023, played with the Jazz in Summer League, or in G League last year, Averaged 12, 4, and 3 on 52-33 splits. So decent, pretty good shooting splits, all-around solid player in the G League. I think he could have a pretty good Summer League for Sacramento. Number 23 is going to be Javen Johnson, undrafted in 2023 played for the Golden State Warriors in the G League last year. Averaged 16 and 4 on 44% shooting and 40% from 3. Good score on great shooting splits from 3. Definitely is a guy that should be a sleeper here for Atlanta in Summer League. We got Joshua Primo, kind of a similar guy to James Bouknight or Kira Lewis that I had earlier. He was a lottery pick only 4 years ago. Did not play anywhere that I could find last season, but his 2024 G League stats at about 17 points, 4 boards, and 4 assists on 47-37 splits are some pretty good numbers. So I do expect him to get a little bit of a bounce back here in Summer League and actually find himself at least on a two-way deal come next season. We got Bryce Williams out of Nebraska, undrafted this year, who's an all-Big Ten guy. He averaged 20 points a game in college, right? That's really good. 47-37 splits, solid as well. He was a great scorer in college for Nebraska. So if he can even show some signs of those with Detroit, I think he'll easily at least get a G League spot. But definitely I think there's a guy who could potentially find his way on a two-way deal. Then we got Javon Small. He was the 48th overall pick out of West Virginia this season, an all-Big 12 guy. He was great in college, 18.6 points, 4 boards, 5.5 assists, 1.5 steals. This is some really, really good numbers. Shooting splits aren't great, but they're still pretty solid at 42-35 splits. I thought he probably should have gone a little bit higher than pick 48, and I think he's going to have a pretty good Summer League, especially given where he was drafted. Then we got Ethan Thompson out of Orlando here. He was undrafted in 2021, but he's had some great G League stats. Averaged 18, 5, and 3 last year on 40-39 splits. Again, the overall field goal percentage, not great, but that 39% from 3 is really, really solid. Then we got Kevin McCullough Jr. from the Knicks. He was drafted last season with a 56th overall pick, played in 4 NBA games, played in just a couple of G League games as well. He was injured for the majority of the season, a knee injury that lingered from college, and he averaged about 12, 5, and 4 with 1.5 steals on very poor efficiency last season on 39-22 splits. But again, he did miss basically an entire calendar year with an injury, so I do expect him to have a much better season this year, and that's going to start with a pretty solid Summer League in my opinion. Then we got Marquez Bolden. He was undrafted in 2019, played for the Hornets G League in 2024. He averaged 11 points and 8 boards on about 55-38 splits. Really good efficiency there. I think he's going to have a pretty solid Summer League here with Golden State. Kaiza Tominaga, undrafted in 2024, played for the Pacers G League, only played a few minutes a game, but he averaged 5 points on 49-47 splits. He shot 47% from 3 in the G League last year. Again, didn't play a whole lot, but that is still an incredible percentage. I think he could definitely go off and have a 6 or 7-3 game here in the G League, or in the Summer League, and then get himself potentially on a two-way deal just because of his great three-point ability. Next up is going to be N'Faly Dante for the Houston Rockets. He was undrafted in 2024, but had some great G League stats last year. 16.5 points, 10.5 boards, over 2 blocks a game on 75% shooting from the field. He is not a three-point shooter at all. I don't even think he attempted a single three-pointer, but he averaged 16 and 10 on 75% shooting, right? He is going to be great in Summer League, if I had to guess. I think he could definitely be a two-way guy. I feel like he could probably be a 15-man roster guy for some teams in the NBA. Next up is going to be, I'm going to just assume his name is Noel Eastern. He was undrafted in 2021, played for the Timberwolves in the G League last season, averaged 13, 5, and 3, 1.5 steals on 50-42 splits. So solid all-around guy with some really good shooting splits there at 42% from 3. That's amazing. if he can even show some signs of being a great three-point shooter here in Summer League, there's no reason this guy couldn't potentially be a two-way guy come next season. Next up is going to be Pete Nance, who was undrafted in 2023, played for the Bucks last year, played in 13 games, didn't really do much in the regular season when he did play, but his G League stats were solid at 13, 6, and 2 on 50-41 split. I think if he has a pretty good Summer League here, he could definitely find himself on a 15-man roster here for the Milwaukee Bucks. Then about Darius Bazley for the Los Angeles Lakers. He was drafted in 2019 with a 23rd overall pick. Recently played for the Sixers in the G League, where he absolutely dominated, averaging 19 and about 10 points with 1.5 steals and 1.5 blocks on 50-37 splits. He was a really, really good G League guy last year. There's no reason he can't be a good Summer League player and potentially actually be a 15-man roster guy for the Los Angeles Lakers. Then we got Keontae Johnson for the Denver Nuggets. He was 50th overall draft pick in 2023. Played for the Hornets G League last year, where he averaged about 18, 5, and 3 on 52-41 split. So a really good score on really good efficiency in the G League last year. No reason he can't carry that over into the Summer League and potentially find himself at least on a two-way deal with some team next season. Next up is going to be Isaiah Brockington, undrafted in 2022, played for the Clippers G League last year, averaged 15, 4, and 2 on 45-35 splits. Pretty solid scorer on pretty good efficiency. I feel like he is going to have a really solid Summer League and potentially find himself a two-way deal. Next is going to be Naquan Tomlin for the Cleveland Cavaliers, undrafted in 2024, played 5 NBA games for the Cavs last year, but didn't really do a whole lot. His G League stats were very, very impressive, though. 21 points, 9 boards, almost 2 blocks a game on 54-34 splits. Really, really great scorer on really good efficiency there. In the G League, I feel like he's going to have a pretty good Summer League as well, and definitely, potentially, I think he's going to find himself on a 15-man roster. That could be for the Cavaliers, could be for somebody else, but I do think he belongs on a 15-man roster. It's going to be Kenneth Lofton for the Celtics, undrafted in 2022, played for the Jazz G League in 2024, and didn't play in the G League last year, but he did play for the Shanghai Sharks, where he dominated. Averaged 25 points, 12.5 boards, almost 7 assists, with 1.6 steals on 54-34 splits. He absolutely dominated in Shanghai last year. I think the only reason he played in China instead of in the G League last year was because they gave him more money, because there's no reason that the G League just wouldn't have offered him another contract, right? I think if he balls out here in Summer League, he could potentially earn himself another shot at an NBA contract. Even a two-way deal is probably better than Shanghai, but if he's going to get only a G League specific deal, he's probably going to end up back in China or somewhere else next season. I do think this is the last player here. We got Peyton Sandfort out of Iowa, undrafted in 2025. He was all Big Ten guy, averaged 17, 6, and 3 on 41-34 splits. Really good score on pretty solid efficiency there. I think he's going to have a pretty good Summer League, potentially find himself on a two-way deal because he is a pretty good scorer and a pretty good shooter. He's out of Iowa. Most Iowa dudes are pretty good shooters because that's kind of all that Iowa's been doing in basketball for the last 5 or so years, probably even more than that. But they're pretty good at shooting threes. Peyton Sandfort is one of those guys as well, and I expect him to get on a two-way deal after he has a standout Summer League season. But that's good for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back after Summer League is over to see my top 5 winners and losers. And if you have not watched my NBA player ranking videos, please go back and do that. I think you'll have a lot of fun doing so. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.